stand for the pledge, and we will have Ms. Lennon, if she doesn't mind, lead the pack. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, I'm gonna ask that we move up the review for the articles, because some of the board members weren't coming and some have to leave early. So if we could move that up and then have public comment, I need a motion to that.
I think we should open public comment, doesn't it have to be open for 30 minutes? Because what,
I'm not gonna be here that long.
yeah, because we have to keep it open 30 minutes, right?
Well, yeah, we will anyways, I just, are you okay with that? Because Jen's gotta be somewhere, that's why I don't want her to miss the review. So if you cannot stay, we need to move it up, because public comment can be adjusted. If you can stay, then we'll keep it, but
There's not many people.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, dear.
Rather open suggestions.
If we can legally,
Oh, yeah, we gotta
we
leave it
can.
open.
I'm sorry.
No,
And then we're not open for the public, so, okay, so we'll open public comment at 4:31. And we'll open it for 30 minutes, and we'll start now. So if anybody has to speak, just say your name and your address and speak away.
Okay, so, do you want to go first?
I'll go really, if you don't
Okay,
mind,
go ahead.
I'll be very quick. Rebecca Sherbon, 8th grade language arts coach.
Who are you again?
Rebecca Sherbon, I teach 8th grade language arts. Right.
It's for a day.
Dear members of the board, thank you for allowing public comment. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to those who are encouraging positive discourse between teachers and the board in light of our vote of no confidence. And while many of us are still saddened by the lack of response and think that it speaks loudly, many of us are really hopeful that Mr. Wallace's clarifying statement that this wasn't union-led will hopefully lead to a positive outcome and hopefully a response from the concerns that were outlined in our statement. Our hope is that at the next board meeting, we could sort of pal around some dates that might work in order to maybe have a work session, as you guys spoke about at your last meeting on Tuesday. Just a chat, just a conversation to have with any willing teachers, and hopefully be able to find a way to forge ahead so that we can make sure that we're all working toward the best outcomes for our kids and have that at the forefront of our communications. We were especially hopeful and proud that our board voted yes to the Playworks opportunity for kids. We think this is going to be great for coaching opportunities for kids, for playtime activities for kids, and hopefully we'll be able to see some really great things come from that. We were also really hopeful and proud of our board for passing along the willingness to include the behavioral interventionist on the warrant article. I hope I'm saying that right. The board has indicated for years that we have to stop the interruptions in classrooms from students who are dysregulated, and we couldn't agree more with you. Although many of us employ every trick in our toolbox when behavioral issues arise, having an expert available to help remove these students, but also process with them and strategize how to better handle their frustrations will inevitably help our student outcomes, both academically and behaviorally, something that I know we're all on the same page about. So thank you for taking steps forward that are encouraging staff for much better days to come. Thank you.
Next.
Hi, Laura Carty, Sandpiper Lane. I just thought I would, because I was kind of quoting from memory when I was speaking the other night when we were talking about the statute that governed the withdrawal committee, I thought I would just take a few minutes and just read a couple of sections that I think are very relevant to where we are right now. First of all, so this is New Hampshire Statute 194-C:2. I'm reading from number 1, sub-bullet 3. The planning committee shall consist of the following members: 2 local school board members appointed by the local school board, 1 member of the financial committee, so in our case that's the budget committee, 4 public members representing the community at large. appointed by the school district moderator, and then the superintendent, who shall be a non-voting. So then from that same section, section 1, number 8, it says a planning committee shall act by majority vote of its total membership. And then moving to section 2, letter C, it says if the planning committee chooses not to recommend organization, reorganization, or withdrawal from a school administrative unit, that recommendation shall be submitted to the voters of the school district at the next annual school district meeting. So I'm not a lawyer, but to me, this says that the committee is responsible, not the school board. The committee is responsible for putting the recommendation on the ballot. Nowhere in this entire thing does it say anything about checking with the school board or getting the school board's vote on the duly appointed committee, which did have representation from the school board on it. So I just wanted to read the exact statute sort of into the public record.
Or can I have a copy of that?
Sure.
Can you forward that to me?
Sure.
Anybody else wish to speak for public comment? Go ahead, just say your name and your address.
Cassandra Hashem, 10 Austin's Way. I don't know exactly what this meeting's about, but looking at the agenda, it says warrant articles, and I just, as a taxpayer and parent, and out of respect for everybody here, including the board members, I don't know how after a 5-hour-long meeting, this meeting is happening right now. I had fathomed that there is another meeting this week, and I just wanted to point that out.
But it's been more than 5 hours, it's been multiple meetings.
A lot.
Legally, we could
It's
have
been
voted the other night.
22.
Multiple meetings,
So do
if
you
don't
have
come
any further
prepared,
things to say, Dan?
I've been to a lot of meetings where my time was wasted and a lot of other people's time, and I just can't, I just feel like this is not a respectful use of anybody's time that's in this room or even home watching.
Okay. Anybody else for public comment?
So why don't we take the vote the other night so we wouldn't have to sit here?
Okay, well, we'll let public comment open, but we're gonna open up now to the board, so, first thing I wanna say, because I wanna just address the board, I'm sure you've all read your emails from the DRA, our legal, and the Secretary of State, to help guide us so that we know what we're doing here, and we have more than been told that it not only is okay for a recommendation, but on parts of monetary, it is actually a mandate, like from the budget, for instance. So the reason we're here is because we had, I thought that they were gonna post the warrant today, and we were notified by the SAU they were going to. So an emergency meeting yesterday wouldn't work, and then Tuesday night, we had questions with legal of what we could and couldn't do. Members of the community questioned, we wanted to make sure we had answers. So I wasn't willing to make a decision Tuesday night, not having the advice and knowing how to move forward. The rest of the board as well, because as much as I hear that one does this one does this, we're all a board, and we have to act at public meetings in the best interest that we have at hand. And that's what we have been doing, 22 meetings later. So with that said, we have articles on, and I wanted to, the first article is the budget.
Sure. So first of all, we were instructed that we as a board had no say in warrant article and how the verbiage went. So of course, having to do my own research, found out that wasn't the case. We were told that we weren't allowed to put it in a certain order, it had to be done according to the DRA, which I called the DRA, found out that wasn't the case. These are all things that the SAU gets paid to instruct us on what we can do and can't do. But instead of actually giving us accurate information, we have to constantly go back and forth and get the information ourselves. And this doesn't mean that I'm not prepared or Maria's not prepared or no one else is. It's a matter of that we're paying the SAU to do a job, and they're picking and choosing what they tell us that we can do depending on how it benefits them. And then we have to make phone calls. I wasn't put on this board to call the DRA, to call the Secretary of State, to call the town clerk's office when I have a job. I'm not paid to be on a cruise ship and have to do jobs at the school board that we pay an SAU to do. I'm talking. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is that we thought we could have an emergency meeting because we were told by Nancy Tuttle, and I saw the email, that she was gonna submit the articles on the 24th. So to us, that would be justified under an emergency meeting. Instead of us being advised that legally, this is an emergency meeting, so we could have been in a lot of trouble. We had to figure it out by reading between the lines, by reading 45 emails by the DRA, the Secretary of State, the clerk's office. So as bad as I'm the bad person here, I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job to make sure that we are representing the taxpayers, because that's who votes us in. The administration, and this is no disrespect to them, but the administration, they have people that represent them. And the SAU, they have people that represent them. We represent the taxpayers. I do want to admit that I do feel bad that I did not approve, and this is irrelevant to the conversation, but I did get more information on the play group, and I really do think that it's something they should have. And that's why when I'm wrong, I don't have a problem admitting I'm wrong. And that was absolutely unfair for me. Instead of saying that I wasn't gonna vote on it, I should have said, can we table this and get more information? Because we have requested in the past to get the information before the meetings, so we can review them, which I couldn't get onto board docs, and that's accurate. Because Jen had to print out the thing for me. But my point to this whole thing is that for the last 6 to 8 months, since March, the amount of work that I've had to do behind the scenes to get the correct answers, even after votes for grant information, is unacceptable. And when I leave, you guys won't have to worry about this, because nobody is going to put in the work that I did to get the answers that I got. I know the other night we could have took the vote, but I was not gonna put everyone else in the situation of having to take my word for it unless we got a legal matter. So when we hear from everybody, because I'll be at every meeting after I'm off the board, that we've spent all this money on legal representation, this is why we've spent all this money on legal representation. Because the people that we're paying are taking it into their own hands to not give us the legal advice they're being paid to do, so that we can make the right decisions. And I've said 1,000 times, and I made this promise, and it's not a promise that's lingering. There is going to be a time that it's gonna come out, and it's not a threat, I'm just telling you, that you cannot continue to lead a school in the wrong direction and think that the truth isn't going to come out and that nobody is going to catch on. Because people are talking, and even the people in your school are not happy. Because they're watching meetings, and what they're hearing on the meetings, they are horrified that things are being said in a meeting, and they're in this building every single day, and they're saying, how can they say this? That is absolutely not the case. And it's not administration or the teachers. And I'm sorry if I am hostile and I am upset, but I'm upset because I've been doing my job for almost 5 years. And the amount of research that I've had to do on grants, and the amount of research I've had to do to get this school to even listen that our kids need to be increased. And I'm not saying it's the teachers, because teachers came to us and complained about the SAU. But all of a sudden the SAU is now the savior because we have to withdraw and no one wants to withdraw. Just remember, at the end of the day, everybody has their own back, and eventually it's gonna go right back to the way it was. And I just pray to God someone else is gonna do the research, because half of what you guys get in front of you is not even a fourth of what the truth is.
So anybody else on the board have something to say?
So what is the verbiage that you wanna add to Article 2?
Yeah, we're not adding verbiage, we're taking a vote to recommend or not. The verbiage is already, that was already complete, yeah, that was already done for legal.
The only thing.
So that's all right, so no one wants to be here all day, but we, in the very beginning,
So it won't be on the article.
no, we will, we'll just say recommend or not to recommend.
Same
This is
like every
something that
other
we
one.
could have legally done since day one, and we're being told that we couldn't. It's not that we've spent 5 or 10 hours on this and that we've decided the last day. It's that we've been told the whole time that we had no say on this and it's wrong. Just like we were told that we had no say on the verbiage, that was wrong. Like we were told that,
But so there will be verbiage added.
Not added, just to the
No, just a
bottom, right,
vote.
they said, does the school board recommend or does
not recommend, that's it.
or whatever.
But it has to be by vote.
Yeah,
But it
so
should-
it would
to
say-
recommend and.
Right.
But, yes,
Yeah.
Right,
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 that's
but we
what
could
I
have
read
done
in
this a
the.
long time ago.
Yeah, that's the
And
only
if this
reason
was
we're
for,
here.
and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say it, if this was a social work or something else, and they wanted the board, and they knew the board was gonna approve it, or if it was for a truck, and they knew the board was gonna approve it, they would encourage to vote on it. It all depends on if it fits if it's beneficial to them, and I'm sorry, but it's true. We should have never, ever, ever had another attorney reviewing this on top of our attorney when it was already told that, and Lacey can confirm it, because she said, how come this hasn't been sent, Matt, to our attorney? And he said, it has, Maria sent it. So then why was Casassa reviewing it for the budget, for the withdrawal committee? There's another charge, but it's the school board's fault that we're using all these funds. We're using these funds because unfortunately our attorney has to review everything, because the stuff we're being told is not true. Our attorney, seriously, is horrified that she did not stay at the meeting. She feels so bad she didn't stay at the meeting.
And I'm not fault for that, because she said, is it okay to leave, and I thought it was
I did
this
too.
week.
We all did. We said, yeah, you're good, because we didn't want to have to pay for her to be here.
But so it couldn't be done at the deliberative session?
No, it could
No,
have been
because it
done
needs
last
to be
week.
in by Monday.
Right,
To
so,
Shayna by 4 o'clock.
and you can ask Shana, I texted her today and
article.
said, can we do, what's the closing date on
So it
Monday?
has to be done now
Because
or
I wanted to, because I know what's going on today. Like, you don't think that bothers me? That's why I wanted it done last night. I know what's going on today.
no.
You know, I'm sitting here too. I'm also involved in what's going on today. We could have done this a long time ago. I had the text. I asked Shayna, can we do it on Monday? She said, the sooner the better, and it has to be submitted, I would assume by Friday, because that's when the town hall closes.
Yeah.
So how could we do it? And if something came up where there was this big to-do, like there has been every time we try to accomplish something, it wouldn't have got done. Michelle, I'm gonna say one thing too. We went through the same thing with social worker last year. We found out that we could, no, we never took a vote on to recommend the social worker or not. We all just took a vote on if we wanted to put on the warrant article. That doesn't constitute the recommendation on the warrant article. So after it took a long time of a lot of calls with Shayna at the town hall on my lunch break to find out, yes, you technically should take a vote. What you have on the bottom of the warrant article saying recommendation is not your recommendation. That is basically stating that you put it on the warrant article, but you didn't recommend that article. I contacted Matt, I have the emails, well, I'm sorry, I don't, they took all my emails away, I have to get them off a flash drive now, because I'm a new member after 5 years. Which is my fault, I should have never left, but God, I'm glad I did, because here I am, and another thing would have been lied to you. The point is that the night that we had, it was the last night, just like this, that we had a meeting before the warrant articles got posted the next day. The only meeting that Matt did not go to was the meeting that we were gonna make a recommendation to vote on the social worker. He didn't come. He told Mary Toomey to make sure, and it's all video, to make sure, because Mary said, oh, you guys can't do the vote because it wasn't on the agenda. David Hobbs spoke up and said, Kelly, you can actually you can amend the agenda and have it put on there, and you can take the vote. So I did that. If I didn't do that, we wouldn't have been allowed to take a vote because we were told we couldn't, because Matt wasn't here, it wasn't on the agenda, knowing that day that we wanted it on the agenda, but Christina didn't have it put on. And there you go, another article that almost didn't have a recommendation that they knew that the
Well,
majority.
then I think for future, we need
And I told you every meeting.
clarification from either DRA or a school board association, then we need to be educated on this stuff, because
Should you have to do
doing
that?
doing the amount of, when I was on school board, we didn't have
Exactly.
emergency
Right,
meetings.
right.
Not 20 emergency meetings.
But you can't
And
blame
or-
Maria, or you can't blame me.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I know. But the bottom line is,
saying
the
that
money
we
was,
need to-
Meredith,
We
is there
have
something
enough
funny?
people that supported us.
I'm waiting to
Just
speak.
let-
I've been-
You can speak, but
My
there's not
friend.
one thing I've said is wrong, and you know
And
that.
you know what?
All right, let's,
We pay you a lot of money to guide us in the right direction, and this is why we have our own attorney.
So I just want to know if I'm being allowed to speak.
Sure,
or
go
not.
ahead.
I would love to be able to advise the board, but generally I don't find out the questions until we're sitting in the meeting, and that was the case the other night. We didn't have the answer. Lacey raised, could it be done at deliberative? I said it could. I said I didn't know the answer to the question. The warrant article wasn't even added to the agenda until like the day out. We had to amend the agenda, so we didn't have the information in advance. And unfortunately, that is what frequently happens. We're not able to provide information or counsel because generally we're not asked questions. And in fact, we've not been allowed to seek counsel except with board permission
Why is
for
that?
months.
So I'm gonna go piggyback on that, because I didn't wanna do this back and forth, I wanna be here for a reason.
Yeah, I think we should
But I'm gonna
do what we
say
need to
straight up, all right, it's been a rough year. And I'm gonna tell you something, who sacrifices our children. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we've done everything we can as a board to try to fix and help and support our kids in the school. And from this minute on, I'm gonna tell you right now, whether it's politically the popular thing, that's what I'm gonna continue to do. I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth. Michelle, to your point, you and I both had superintendents and SAUs that were supportive of our school board. We have not had that this year, and we need it. Without that, we cannot go on. And I'm just gonna say that, so I'm gonna go on to the article
But
one.
Maria, in fact, every single one of these articles on there had a vote, yes?
Yes,
So you can't say it wasn't brought to you because that warrant article has been on this paper the whole time, so why didn't you initiate us taking a vote on it before this?
so I'm gonna move Article 1, we already have taken a vote on. However, there's people in the room. If anybody, I don't think Kelly was allowed on that vote, do you want us to vote with you now on there, or just leave it as school board recommends this article? Or do you want us to read it?
Maria, are you gonna make motions
Yeah, I'm asking.
for every article?
Well, no,
I have to have
No.
this ready.
Okay, leave it, okay.
I'm just doing a.
Yeah.
Number 2, I
Very
just wanted to be
confusing.
courteous if anybody
Yeah, we don't
wants
want
to.
anyone, no, we don't wanna do votes on everything
Okay,
because that's really
so-
gonna give everyone a reason to
All right.
be upset. I don't like
So on Article 2, there is a withdrawal article. We have checked with our legal, DRA, New Hampshire School Board Association, Secretary of State. Everybody knows that. They've read the emails, they have them. So we do have a right to take a recommendation on this article. And with that said, I am going to ask the Seabrook School Board recommends vote no on this article and create a new planning committee to explore withdrawing from SAU 21. And that's a motion.
I just wanna
Needs
read
a
this
motion.
to you.
Yeah, do you have that,
I
do you have
have
it
that.
written?
I have it, like, I have
it.
it typed, but it's
All right,
not
so
really written on
Can you
anything.
just read it slowly for me,
Yes.
please?
That Seabrook School Board recommends vote no on this article and create a new.
Can I put Article 2 just so it's?
Yeah, and if you
No.
just go, honestly, if you just look up to the vote, it tells you the same verbiage, but I'll read it to you.
Okay,
The Seabrook School Board recommends.
Yep.
Vote no on this article and create a new planning committee to explore withdrawing from SAU 21. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor if not? Any discussion from the boards? All in favor?
who made the second?
Me and Kelly.
Maria, you made the motion?
Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. Lacey, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Michelle?
Abstain. I
Jen?
haven't.
Yes.
That's true.
Maria?
Yes.
And Kelly?
Yes.
And
Public comment open for another.
We have enough people that can.
how long public
So
comment?
can I just ask another question, Laura Carty?
Sure, public comment's still open.
So, I know you listed all the organizations and things that you got approval from that, is it possible for us to get documentation?
You can ask for it, but the New Hampshire School Board Association is very, they're confidential, so I
Right.
can't release it, Michelle can't.
But you're
You
telling
can
the
ask,
public that
and
you
you can
have.
ask for anything that you wish to ask for, and then we'll see if it can be granted or not, I
Well,
can't.
I'm not asking the New Hampshire School
You can
Board
make phone
Association,
calls.
I'm asking
Ask
you.
them.
Yeah, I couldn't grant that
So,
permission.
so you're telling the public that you have legal authorization to do this, but you're not willing to share?
No, I
that
didn't
with
say
us.
that.
Well, then,
Any of the board willing to share theirs, because I'd rather leave it up to the you make the request through an email to us as a 91A or whatever it needs to be. And then those groups can decide what to give you. I don't wanna just give emails, cause some of them say confidential. Laura, in fact, you probably know.
She can send it tomorrow.
Well, she probably knows because you made requests through the New Hampshire School Board Association, and on the bottom it says confidential. So like, I don't know if we can release it or not, but you can.
But again,
ask.
but my question is to just to validate that you do indeed have legal, because because I'm willing to seek legal.
Yeah, we have our
attorneys
legal
too.
opinion on this. And then the other thing that I would question is, on these warrant articles, I think it's pretty standard as we see, the school board recommends, the school board doesn't recommend. I've never seen language on either the town warrant or the school warrant that gets very specific and says, the school board recommends you vote no. That seems to me a little bit kind of overkill in terms of what you're
That
doing
is
for a
what we were
recommendation.
guided for, so you
And
can.
you were guided for that by
please.
just all of these authorities, Secretary of State, DRA.
I'm just gonna tell you that's okay. If it wasn't, I would vote for it. So, all right, any other questions? Anybody? Public comment has to stay open until 5:01, and then we can close. So if anybody has anything further to say. If we get a minute, does anybody wanna speak from the public? If not, I'd just say.
Did they say that we couldn't specify that much?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to, I just wanna say overall with the budget, our school boards asked for almost a 5% increase in the budget, and we did that because the need of our students and their education. And we asked for that, and I just wanna say one thing, we understand as a school board, there's a lot of people out there struggling. I understand, we hear it every day, and when it comes to our kids' education, I don't think we can put a price on it, and that's all I wanna say, and I hope that people support, the budget this year, because it was tough last year with the default budget. And I don't know if anybody else, any public comment, please jump in.
Well, we have like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
We wanna acknowledge, Ms. Sherbone's request for a work session.
Yeah, I was gonna, so when, I get home, I don't know whether to reach out to you or not, because that email we got was kind of like, okay, should we speak to you?
We did receive an email that.
The email that you had sent
About
about,
last June?
yeah, so I'm not
Let's start
sure if it
fresh.
still sticks.
Let's start fresh.
All right, because I'm like,
So this is
no.
just teachers, this isn't, that was
Okay.
union driven, this is just
Okay,
teachers.
so
This phase is just,
I can
this is a
reach out to
teacher.
you without.
You can reach out to
being
any of us.
threatened or anything
Okay,
like
so
that.
the superintendent heard that, right? Because we were instructed that we couldn't reach out to.
I don't know
staff.
I know that you guys had a policy on,
No, we changed that.
We did.
right, and I don't know what it is, so I don't wanna, I'm gonna trust that
We
you
got a
folks
letter from her
know.
that we could not contact teachers or administrators.
And I think that it's probably a good idea that I'm not the spokesperson, just where I do wear two hats.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fair way to approach the conversation. Love to be included in it, but maybe I could reach out to some teachers as a teacher, and figure out what the rule is. I don't have a policy in front of me.
Can we reach out, would it be fair if we reached out to Colleen and then Colleen reaches out to y'all and sees what would be the best way to pool a meeting so that we can have a work session together
So
and
let
then
me just
you can
clarify so I
decide.
get it
Huh?
straight. You wanna have,
a work
you wanna
session?
have a work session, to discuss.
The no confidence vote.
Thank you,
Yeah.
the no confidence vote and come to an understanding of how we can move forward, right?
The no confidence vote is not the subject because
They
that's in the
wanted you-
hands of the legal. I'm talking about meeting with the teachers
Right,
and the school board.
That's not in the hands, the no confidence vote is in the hands of legal.
The no confidence vote,
I think they wanted to move forward
Yeah,
based on what
past
they
that.
said to you.
Well, we did want to
And
respond.
we
Yes.
wanted it to be addressed, so here's what we said to you, what do you think, Bo, what we said, and
Yeah.
how can we move forward? That's
Yes.
how I understood it,
Yes.
so I don't wanna deliver the
Yeah, I don't
message
want- I just-
differently than.
right.
So even if it's labeled as a
But in-
non-meeting.
In fairness though, if you've delivered the vote of no confidence to legal, that's
Public meeting.
probably
Public work
moves
session,
the
can we do that?
request to collaborate.
No, our legal was here when that was brought up. the
Oh,
other
yes.
night. That's what I'm saying, we were in the room and I don't know what that comes from that.
Yeah, she said to do it in public though, cause I
Right,
asked.
Right, the
A
issue,
public work session,
Right.
right?
Really just a conversation, we're looking for a conversation.
Yes.
We want to hear your thoughts on what we presented in our vote. We want to hear your thoughts on what we presented in our message. And figure out ways that we can work forward to make sure that our communications are in line with your goals and really what we as teachers who are on the in the hallways every day, yeah, that we're being heard like in a really respectful and well-received way. We want to be able to communicate
And vice versa.
in a way, yeah, of course, in a way that like doesn't have to feel gross,
Yes.
you know?
Yes, because the public watches us.
Yeah, they
If we can
do.
show them that we are all here for the same purpose,
As
because
long
I
as it's
believe
a
we are.
public meeting,
Yeah.
we can do a meeting.
Yeah,
It's not, we
Yeah.
don't need to ask legal. We need to all be on the same page for these children,
I think the reason we asked legal is because we got an email from the superintendent stating that we couldn't discuss anything with administration or teachers, we had to go through her. Then we got an email from the union stating that we were to, cease and desist. So you have to kind of be careful, once you receive something like that, you can't, and then there was an email to meet with us, and then when it was opened up that we would meet with union, it didn't happen. I think it's just, you have to be careful when you receive those kind of letters, but I mean, it's good that everybody is now wanting.
If everybody's on the same page and we
It
have
wouldn't be an issue.
transparency and we do better,
Right.
Can we
And then
can we take
yeah,
one step forward and just kind of squash the
Yeah.
union request? That was last June.
No, it was recently, Rebecca, that was very recently,
and
that
that
was.
Tuesday night, didn't they ask for an update for us, what kind of threw everybody off?
I think it was November.
it was
Yes, it was
November.
November. It was
At the
way,
joint board.
it was days before the no
Yeah.
confidence vote.
But if we can just.
But let's just move forward as teachers. Just teachers, we're just teachers. We just want to talk to you as teachers with like knowing that
We'll
we
do our
support
homework and then we'll reach out.
kids. Yeah, homework, okay. Tell me if I
Make sure everything's legal.
Tell me.
Oh, I
Legal
think it's
bingo.
fine as long as it's not in non-public, because initially that's what we were kind of
It
talking
was,
about.
that very first request we
If
made
we
was,
didn't have, if we could just get information
I'm-
straightforward.
I know, well, I'm
Okay,
just
I mean-
concerned because
You
our
know what, I
legal
have
bill
no
is gonna
confidence
be-
on me, I'm not doing anything
Yeah,
without
and you
legal.
can turn right to the right, over to Hampton, and ask why we have such big legal bills.
Yeah,
It's not fun, Michelle. Those 91As were crazy,
I
and should
just
have never
rather
happened.
see the money go to
So,
public.
and-
So maybe we can come up with a date.
Let's come up
and
with
the
a
91
date,
A's
I'll
paid
go
for it, we
through,
requested them.
I'll send an email to the board to Colleen with everybody on it, and then she will reach out and see who the point person, if we could include the EAs with the teachers, and I'm not asking, but I guess I'm asking because I feel like they're also I
They're
always
really
say they're
important.
the nurse to the doctor, the EA is to the teacher, so I always put that in comparison, could we include them, that's all. And I would love to hear from everybody. Okay?
Good.
I will reach out as soon as I get home. All right, any other business to come before us?
I just wanna remind you that the non-public minutes have a 72-hour.
Jen
And
was
that
supposed to do those.
was up.
If she does, I'll
So-
tell you what, if she don't have them ready, cause I know she's got things she's gotta do, I'll type up what I can to you,
Okay,
the
for
times and
non-public.
dates.
And then Kelly, if
Gotta
you
have
can
them
forward
today.
that email that you
Yeah,
made to
text
Rebecca the
that.
other night.
Which one was that?
That was, I think Michelle read that email.
No, Michelle read
I
an
sent
email,
that.
you read an email from Shayna about what her response to you was.
About,
I wanna say it
the
was
term.
January 2nd, about the term.
Oh, yes, oh, no,
Yes.
that wasn't Shayna, that was, Yes, it was
There
Shayna.
was, I think it was
It was
Shayna.
Shayna.
If you could just forward that would be great, thank you.
Shayna thinks this is completely.
She has tried to do everything.
Actually, I'll do that right now, so don't forget
To
me.
be
Thank
honest
you.
with you, I think she still struggles with that answer, but we'll just move forward and,
Our attorney said if I wanted, if I would change anything, and I said just go march on it.
yeah,
Okay.
all
Can I
right.
get a clarification? Are you
Yeah.
just voting on some of the articles?
That's it, just the one,
One,
that's
two.
the only one that we didn't vote on,
Okay.
right? Besides the Sacred Heart, we can't, cause that in itself is actually a citizen petition.
Okay.
So that come in from 25 people.
So I wasn't clear, so all these warrants gonna have a vote on them?
Yeah,
Okay,
they will,
Actually,
the
yeah.
town and school,
all right.
and the budget committee may choose to vote on that too, that's up to them, they're a separate entity.
Not that you want to.
Do you need, new signatures?
I don't have a
Yeah.
collection on that. Unless you gave me one.
Or could we like,
Right below.
DocuSign?
If need be.
Okay.
Oh, we can DocuSign, alright, good.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that
we'll
way.
have to run around that little folder. That would be great, and that's it, that's the only thing that we had to do, any other business? If not, I'm gonna motion to adjourn.
Can you close public?
Close public comment. 5:06, I guess. On my clock, exactly. 5:06. And then a motion to adjourn. Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, everybody have a good weekend.
Shayna's, oh, wait,
Oh, you better